was a plain white cover with only 2 splashes of red on the title, Student, and the red tie the student wore. As well as giving us this illustration, Peter Blake also gave us an interview. He began in arresting style. A very pretty girl with no clothes on is a marvellous subject, and one I'm particularly interested in. It is one of those things, along with perspective and anatomy, which teaches you how to draw. While I rapidly considered the advantages of becoming an artist, he went on to point out the dangers of student power, which struck a controversial note at the time. He said, "I don't think that students should have any more power over teachers than they have already. Just at the moment, I don't really like students as a group of people. I think they rather overrate themselves. They seem to talk a lot and protest a lot and have too many rights. I think one could get over-involved in the activity of being a student. After all, students are not so important. They're really only there to learn how to be adults. Students shouldn't feel that they have to complain." Perhaps because we were so young and not as aggressive as the usual professional interviewers they faced, some of our contributors made very revealing and graphic remarks. Gerald Scarfe described his work. "I'll always draw. It's a matter of energy. I could never stop. It's as much a part of me as eating. When I get an idea, it has to come out. It is like being sick, a bodily function." When I asked Dudley Moore what he thought of students, he answered, "The only thing I hate about your generation is your age." He'd been an organ scholar at Magdalen College, Oxford, but when I mentioned classical music, he said, "I'd much rather roll about in the mud with 6 women all day than sit down at the piano." Mick Jagger and John Lennon also agreed to be interviewed. Both were demigods to the student population. The student gave a grandiose introduction to the Jagger interview. Recently, Melody Maker wrote, "Jagger is rather like Dostoevsky's brother, Karamazov, who, when told by his venerable brother that pain must exist so that we might learn of goodness, replied that if it was necessary that one small child should suffer in order that he should be made more aware, he did not deny the existence of God, but merely respectfully returned his ticket of admission to heaven." That is Mick Jagger's kind of rebellion. I can't imagine what we were thinking of when we quoted that, but I certainly didn't understand it. I nervously went along to his house on Cheyne Walk and was shown into the living room by Marianne Faithfull. Mick and I smiled at each other genially, but were both equally at a loss for words. Me? Do you like giving interviews? Jagger? No. Me? Why did you ask Student to interview you? Jagger? I don't know.